Good morning, everybody. How you doing, Shane?
Hey, I'm doing phenomenal. What are
All
you
right.
up to, Rico?
Oh, hey, first of all, welcome everybody to Too Strong to Go Wrong, a program to educate and philosophize and help our youth and as well as our young adult parents that are out there and also grandparents and parents. Educate them a little bit on, how to be aware of the gang culture and how to decipher gang awareness, gang violence, as well as how to deal with their grandkids and their kids, and how to become a strong parent to stand up to gang culture that we live into this right now, 2021. It's still prevalent. It's still out here. So we'll touch bases on, once again, we'll touch bases weekly. Every time we come on, we try to touch areas in regards to the gang life that goes on out there in our area, in the Tacoma, Seattle, Portland, wherever it might be, So how you doing this morning, Shane?
I'm doing phenomenal. Oh, and one thing I'd like to point out this morning, I've forgotten in the past couple of shows or whatever. The number's up on the screen. If you can't read it, the phone number here to the station is 253-777-8864, and we invite you to call in if you have any questions about what's being said or, about, just about the show, about the topic, whatever. So, yeah, I'm just inviting you to call in and ask a question.
And then that'd be awesome if anybody wants to call in and voice their opinion on something. And I'm always open for opinions and always open for any kind of correction. I'm not perfect. I don't know it all, but I try to give you the best possible facts that I know that's out here. And if I'm wrong on any facts, feel free to even message Shane and whatnot, and feel free to either leave us a message on the internet as well. He's got a live feed and stuff, so anybody that's watching live feed on his end, drop a message, drop a question. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. Sounds about right?
Yeah, definitely. You can comment on my page, and I'll get the question to Rico, or comment, whatever.
Exactly. So what's the word? What's new, Shane?
Not much. I just went down this morning and figured I'd switch it up. Usually I catch the sunrise from here on the rooftop right outside the studio, but
yeah.
This morning I decided to switch it up. Past couple of days I've been watching a friend of mine that I follow on Instagram, lives here in Tacoma.
Right.
Ellis. He takes pictures of sunrise from down on Ruston Way.
Oh, okay.
And so I figured, hey, why not? I'll just go down there and do my morning yoga down there. And
oh yeah.
So yeah, I got some shots of myself doing yoga with the pre-sunrise sky,
right.
The reddish sky. As a backdrop, real cool. With Browns Point Lighthouse.
I
noticed in a couple of them that's shining, but anyway, then I took some video. Actually, I got a full probably 8 or 10 minutes of the sunrise.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures you posted. They're really nice. They could be postcards.
Yeah.
Postcards of Shane. Hey, and they'll get them all sent out and stuff, right? But it's going to be a scorcher today. It's going to be a hot one today.
Yeah.
What is it going to be like? Almost 101, maybe, I think. 90 something to start.
That's what it said. Actually, when I got outside this morning, it was just barely getting light at 4:10, 4:15 this morning when I got outside to my car.
Right.
And I turned on my car and hit the button so I could see the temperature on my console thing, and it was reading 75.
Yeah.
And it was like, what?
Oh man, it's going to be hot. So for everybody, stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Buy yourself the big cases of water and drink all those bottles by yourself.
Yeah, I'm going to meet a friend of mine up in Buckley, and we're going to. I'm going to go meet a friend of mine in Buckley this morning after the show, and anyway, I'm going to go. Yeah, we're going to go running. We're going to meet in Buckley.
Right.
And he's going a little crazy with it, and he's got to run a few miles to meet me there. and then go run like probably a half marathon with me, and then he's gonna run home. And it's like, bro, just I'll give you a ride.
You guys are the definition of running, man. I mean, and that guy, he's gonna run home. Oh my! And you offered him a ride, and he's like, "Hell with the ride! I'm running."
Yeah,
man, you guys are beasts, man. I gave it to you. I used to run back in the days. I used to take my jogs in here and there, but now just my walks I do at the golf course when I hit the ball. I got to walk over, and that's my little exercise there. I work out and stuff at home. You see me. I hit the weights at home and try to stay fit.
I could see you running back in the day. You were probably running all the time. You were probably either running from the cops or running from your girl's daddy.
I was running from somebody, and if I honestly could be honest, I might have ran from the police in my entire life. Maybe three or maybe a handful. Maybe I had 5 times out of my life. Maybe other times I just hey, what? Come harass me, whatever you guys want to do. That just was my mentality back then.
Yeah.
Now I got a lot of friends out here that are police officers that I know. I've seen. Hey, they see me. Hey, brother Rico, how you doing? Hey, I'm doing good, Officer Day, whatever Johnson, etc. But I've met some great officers out here in Tacoma and Seattle, kudos to them. They got a hard job in front of them.
Yeah,
and especially right now with all the stuff that went on with Black Lives Matter stuff and with the pandemic as well, and then people just burning down places and breaking into buildings, and then next thing you know, the cops show up, and then they have physical altercations with somebody, and the next thing you know, it becomes a big issue with the officers and the people and stuff. So they got a tough job ahead of them, and I know for a fact that when they signed up to be an officer, that they knew that being an officer is going to be difficult. And you can imagine what they go through to prep themselves up for the mornings and get ready to start off their day and stuff. And I'm sure their wives, if they're married, that their wives, kiss them. They just never know if it's going to be the last kiss, their last "I love you," because we just don't know. I mean, our condolences and prayers, go out to any officers that are lost throughout this week and last week. I've read. And my phone, I get pinged up on a news break, and then I just heard of officers getting shot over the week, reporting to a domestic violence report or whatever, or a welfare check, and the guy opens the door and shoots the police officer and whatnot. Stuff like that. It's hard on them because I'm sure they're called out to do their job, and they're never knowing what's going to be behind that door when they open the door. They don't know if it's going to be a mad woman, a mad man, or if 2 big dogs are going to rush out and rush him. So they have a lot on their table. They have a lot on their plate.
Yeah, definitely, and that's something I've thought about before. They're putting their lives on the line when it's like they take a domestic violence call. Well, okay, they're going to a situation that's already labeled violence. Yeah. So, it's like they never know whether they're going to be able to stop the violence if need be, or, soothe the violence to where it's not there anymore. Right. Or, become involved in the violence and possibly a victim of the violence, like you're saying.
Right. Yeah. So, we just got to be mindful of the officers and as well as even any agencies out there that they're here to serve and protect the community. Even military people, they're still out here, whether they're on the base or out at home in a store, and they see something going on. Their mentality is always to protect, so they're always ready to jump into action and help and whatnot. So we just keep our officers and military people in prayer as well.
Yeah. And so I just thought about this, something we were talking about. I think it was last week you and I were talking about, and I brought up, or I mentioned, respect for respect. Right. You give respect, you get respect.
Exactly.
Well, and prime example, and you're talking about, we're talking about police officers doing their job and everything. Yeah. And it's like, the other morning, I showed up. I parked there by the boat launch at Eleanor Park at Lake Taps, and I was parked there, and took some pictures. Back sitting in my car, drinking some coffee, and waiting to get out for the next batch of pictures or whatever. And there was this car that pulled up, and it parked. I'm parked off to the side of the boat launch, and they're parked like in the way of the boat launch, right where trucks
Right.
pull in to drop off their boat. And anyway, they were sitting there for a couple minutes, and this Bonnie Lake cop pulls up, and gets them out of there. And he looks over, sees me sitting there, and they know I go there pretty much every morning. They've seen me and talked to me before, and it's like give respect to get respect. And
Exactly.
so I've given them respect, and talked to them. Hey,
Right.
be safe out there on your job today, and everything like that. And so anyway, they saw me after they ushered this other car out of there. They see me and they're like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" They wave at me and everything, and then just take off. And it's like, they know I'm not doing no harm or anything, and it's like, so they just leave me be, sitting there by the boat launch. Well, then I was flashing back to years ago
Right.
in my teens when I was drinking, driving, raising hell there in Bonnie Lake. The Bonnie Lake cops, they see me, they immediately come over and ask me what I'm doing. Hey, are you causing trouble again, Shane? And it's like switch to nowadays. You give respect, you give respect.
I know.
Nowadays they know I'm not doing those things anymore. Know I'm doing the right things, and so they're like, hey, how's it going? Just wave and go on about their day.
And yeah, you're right. And that's so true. It goes a long way. Respect goes a
Yeah.
long way. So, we have to respect one another and just look out for each other when we're out there and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, hey, I saw something the other day about shoot, I forget what town it was. Somewhere it was, or maybe it was just someone talking about it. Someone's talking about violent cities in the state, and how
Oh.
their city was possibly the most violent, or so they thought.
Right.
And I was just wondering if you seem to keep tabs on this.
Right.
I was wondering if you possibly knew like where that ranking was.
Well, I know. I remember hearing on the radio as well. They was doing a talk show on Seattle Talk Radio, and I heard that they had like top 10 cities in Washington State, the top 10 violent cities to live in that in Washington State, and people would say, really, there's 10 cities that they consider that is violent. And yeah, I was amazed. I was like, Lakewood was one of them, right here in Tacoma area. Tacoma as well as the other one. I mean, Toppenish was another one. I mean, places I didn't even heard of. There was one called Airway Heights or something like that, and I think that's out towards Spokane or somewhere. Centralia is way out going towards Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Centralia. I remember I've been out there a long time ago when I first came out here, like in '97, and I was helping out some gypsy families that I really like, real gypsies. They're into car dealerships. They buy cars.
Oh, okay.
And they resell them. They buy them from the auction and then they sell them.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to go pick up cars for him. They used to pay me $50 a car to go ride with them and bring back a car, drive a car back. And we went all the way to Centralia one time, and that was way out there. And I was driving back. I don't know what was it, a Ferrari or a Corvette, one of them two. But that's like way out there, super far. The other one was Shelton, Aberdeen, Spokane, as well as Seattle. These are top 10 cities that they consider that, they're the violent cities with gang and stuff.
Gee.
So people will never think that. And you think about, wow, really?
Yeah.
And, even in California, me growing up in LA and all the South Central LA area, LA is a big area. And I think alone right now, they have about almost, I would say, might not be on the right facts on it, but I know it's pretty close. LA, South Central LA, along with all the cities beyond it, they probably got over 200 and some thousand gangs.
Jeez.
Just hodgepodge, small gangs here and there, big gangs, the ones that have been there for years, and then the new generation, these kids making up their new gangs and all that stuff. So, so they got a lot of gang. LA has a lot of gangs considered to what we out here in this state, Tacoma, Washington. Tacoma has, like I said, I think Tacoma now has, I would say about almost 200 plus gangs in Tacoma, Washington alone. And then you go to Seattle. Seattle probably has over maybe a good 500, maybe more. So there's prevalence in gangs out here, and they're not like it was. I don't know if you remember, like almost 10 years ago when they was having this stuff going on the east side over here in Tacoma, the shootings and whatnot. Everything died down just a little bit, but now they're starting to come back up again. You're starting to get the little shootings here and there, gang related and whatnot. And people don't realize that these kids are they don't, if they don't have nothing to do, they're gonna find something to do.
Yeah.
And they're gonna get involved in something that interests them, that makes them feel like, oh wow, this is fun. This looks like we can have fun.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna be that one young man or young lady that's gonna indulge them into, hey, that building look like it's empty. We can go in there and see what's in there. And then maybe it's not empty. Maybe they went in there and next thing you know, they're stealing something. They're robbing the store. Or whatever. Kids get indulged like that. They get indulged by other youth. A small story, personal story of mine. One of my nephews that live out here in Tacoma. It's probably been about, I would say about about 8 years now. And a nephew of mine, he worked in a restaurant, was a chef, and worked every day. And he hung around with the wrong kind of kids because it was something that made him feel like, oh, I'm missing out on something, but I'm hanging out with these guys. We're riding out, go get some beer, whatever, and go drink a beer and whatnot. And, one night they went out and went to one of the stores off McKinley and I think it was McKinley and 72nd, right by the railroad tracks over there. And he went in the store and he was going to buy his beer for everybody. But his friend went in there with him, and his friend grabbed a beer to do a beer run, and he runs out the store with the beer. And my nephew was by the counter ready to pay for his beer, but then because his friend did it, he felt, well, if I don't do it, my friend's gonna think I'm a sissy, I'm a punk, and I punked out, and I'm scary and whatever. So he had to follow suit, kind of, because it made his friends look at him like, oh, he's down too, yeah. So he ended up walking out instead of paying for it. And the guy, hey, you stop, get here. Well, when they walked out, it just happened to be at the right time. When they got in the car and took off, they weren't speeding away as bad as they wanted to. They just took off real quick, but not fast. But just coming around the corner was a cop car coming. And automatically, the guy driving panicked and thought, oh, they called the cops already? Oh, my, they're on me. And he starts speeding down the road, and the cops was on him. And next thing you know, they're flying down the road. They're flying down on, I think it's 64th. Yeah, it was 64th and Portland Avenue. Jeez. And they made a right on 64th. And I don't know if people's familiar with that street. It got two little hills on it. The second hill is a little high hill. But this guy had a BMW, and they were in this BMW, and they're riding in this BMW. He's flooring it. They said he was doing about almost 85, maybe 90 miles per hour on a 35 mile per hour street. And when he hit the second little hill, he topped. It went airborne. And when he went airborne, car tumbled.
Oh, geez.
And my nephew was in the car, and there was another kid in the car. And the driver, he had a seatbelt on. He decided to put a seatbelt on, I guess. But my nephew and the other kid did not. When they flipped, my nephew flew out. The other kid flew out one way, and the other kid hit a pillar and instantly died. and then my nephew hit the side of the house. They were building brand new houses right there where the pillars were, the concrete. But right there was an existing house. He hit the side of the building, the house, and instantly died. The car was there, tumbled. The guy came out, woke up, and like looked around. He didn't see his friends, my nephew and the other guy. He didn't see them, so he thought to himself, "Oh, they took off running, left me. I'm gonna take off running too." Took off, boom, and left, and then called his friend, one of the friends that worked with him at the restaurant, and told her, "Hey, we had an accident, and what's his name ran, and he ran, and I haven't seen him." So, and then he goes and meet up with the lady, and the lady tells him, because they hear the news that these two kids died, and the drivers at large. And so she told him, because he didn't know. He was like, "Well, I don't know where they're at." And then she said, "Look, dude, you need to turn yourself in, because no, they didn't run away. They're dead.
Yeah.
They both flew out of the car because you flipped the car, and they both flew out. They didn't have the seatbelt on. They're dead." And he was just distraught at the same time, because he wasn't expecting to do anything bad. And I mean, yeah, beer run is bad, but at the same point, he wasn't expecting that kind of outcome.
Yeah.
And because he chose to drive off and drive speed because he saw a cop, which the right thing would have been just stop and let the officers deal with it. They would have probably gave him a ticket, or I don't know, wrote him up and for stealing or whatever, and go to court on it, whatever. But it wasn't even like that. My nephew died, and then the guy was good friends with my nephew. They were good buddies, and he felt bad about it, and he went to court on it. They was trying to give him, they was going to give him like 20, 25 years, something like that, 25, 30 years. And then my niece, which is my nephew's sister, she stepped up kind of because she felt bad at the same time. She was like, that's his friend, they're friends, and he probably didn't know, didn't mean that. So he went on behalf of the courts and said, "Look, I really don't want him to get a lot of time, but I want him to get time so he can reflect on all this.
Yeah.
But when he gets out, we want him to do some kind of stuff to help out, educate the community, our youth, about doing beer runs, and this can happen, this and that." So I think they ended up giving him like 15 years, I think, somewhere around there. They were lenient on him because of her. But just the story, the moral of the story is that our youth are always looking for something to do if they don't have nothing to go to. So that's what happens when they get involved with the wrong crowd of people. And it wasn't, like I said, the guy wasn't a bad kid, but it was bad enough that you did a beer run and then you end up costing 2 lives because of him being ignorant and driving, speeding like that and whatnot. It could have been a better friend and say, "Put your seatbelts on, man, because I'm about to," but that never occurs to when you're doing any kind of wrong,
Yeah, exactly. It's like, "Oh, let's go." Yeah, it's like definitely reflecting on, or not necessarily reflecting, but sort of like not really planning it out, but just following the timeline to see where it's going to go. It's like, okay, wait, maybe just a gut feeling. It's like, stop and do a gut check. Okay, well, actually, if I go that way, my gut's not feeling too good about that, so I better just stay here and do this.
Right.
And it's like, or following it through. That's the words I was thinking of, trying to come up with.
Right.
Following it through in my mind. Okay, if I do this, what's the likely next steps of this? Where could it end up?
Right.
If I go this route. Okay, and if I go this route, I'm pretty sure that this, and this is going to happen, and maybe it'll be okay, but it'll definitely be better than the possibility over there. So I'm going to go this way. It's just like,
oh yeah,
should I turn left or should I turn right? Well, okay, this way potentially ends up hitting that brick wall, so I'm going to go this way.
Yeah.
But it's just like, potential outcomes,
Yeah.
Got to keep them in mind too.
Well, like I said, just it's sad every day we hear stories, horrible stories of a youth either involved in a gang violence or some kind of gang altercation, with technology that we have today, you see that every day on YouTube channels now, where people are actually recording their violence. You see people fighting on there now. They got fights going on in the streets and young people fighting all the time. And then, like I said, recently, just last week in New York, where a young man was getting chased down by another individual, and the guy ran into two little kids, a girl and a boy, and then the guy's shooting at him, and then starts shooting, and the little girl's trying to grab her little brother to protect him, and this guy, excuse my French, idiot, decides to run into these kids and think that this guy, if he sees he ran into his kid, he's not going to keep shooting. And nowadays, there's no morals out there. This guy kept shooting. Miraculously, the kids were not shot. That was just miraculously. So maybe because the guy was shooting thought, I'm going to do my best not to shoot these kids because they had nothing to do with it. And then, but he did. He ended up shooting the guy, and the guy later died at the hospital. But that's just good to show, that, out there, there's no morality. There's no thought about what they're doing. They're just going to do it, and it's done. And it's even worse that people see a violent act going on in the middle of the street where there's a boyfriend beating up his girlfriend, and 9 times out of 10, nobody's going to stop and help. Nobody's going to get involved.
Yeah.
Because two things happen. Either the person get involved, they get hurt too, or if that person gets involved and surprisingly saves the girl, whatnot, but then he can get sued because something went wrong and the girl got still, and then they'll say, well, because if he wouldn't have stepped in, she probably would be alive today.
Yeah.
So a lot of people always look at that into consideration and think, well, I don't want to be involved in that. I don't want to, there was a guy in I think in Chicago or in the East Coast. There was one time a Puerto Rican guy. Him and a guy got into an argument, and he was walking by. He went into a bodega and to go in there, and he knew the people in there. And the guys were outside waiting for him, and he told the guy in there, yeah, hey, these guys are trying to get me for whatever reason. And then the guys were ready to come in there, and the guy said, push the guy out. He said, no, you need to get out of my bodega, man. I don't want my place tore up. You need to, and they pushed the guy out. And when they pushed him out, these guys jumped him, and they ended up stabbing this kid. They stabbed him I don't know if I'm correct, about 12, almost 13, 14 times. I mean, and nobody, he's yelling, screaming for help, and nobody came out to help. And people would just watch from the windows, people videotaped it and just watched. And while this young man got stabbed up and killed right there in the street. Jeez. And that just goes to show it's sad that, nowadays, nobody really would help, and the ones that do help, because they have that. Nothing wrong with being a hero. There's nothing wrong with being a hero. Sometimes the strength overcomes the scaredness of an individuality, and it overrides it, and you become a person of strength and power that you want to help so bad. Yeah. And it does. It overrides. You don't think about nothing else other than I want to help this person, I want to help. And whether you get stabbed or shot yourself, you're doing it because that was your good deed. That's what your heart desires to do, was to help. Not too many people are like that nowadays. It's not. So it's really difficult.
Yeah, definitely. It's like last Saturday of last week, I guess that was totally redundant, but anyway, last Saturday, when I was witnessing, or when I watched that guy hop the Jersey barrier and walk toward the bridge, ultimately he jumped and committed suicide there, but which I had no way of knowing exactly that's what was going to happen. But I had an inkling of that's what was going to happen. And even though I was just frozen, I seemed frozen in that spot, I did have the thought go through my mind of, jumping the Jersey barrier and, chasing him down and, taking him to the ground, stopping him, because I had a feeling that's
Right.
probably what was going to happen. But, you know, for some reason, I was just frozen and didn't move, you know.
Right.
And, you know, of course, you know, looking back, maybe I should have, but, you know, it's like, I don't want to go there because that's regret and I don't want to regret it.
Right.
Which I do, but, you know, I'm just, yeah, I don't want to sit in that negativity. So,
Oh yeah.
you know, anyway, it's like, you know, but it's like I've heard plenty of people say, you know, just, and Nike's ad, just do it,
Yeah.
you know, and when you're in that spot, you know, and, you know, think about it, is it right or wrong? Okay, well, you know, this could happen, but, you know, I'd rather be right, you know, and, you know, do what I feel is right now.
Right.
You know, and so just do it. And, you know, looking back, I should have just done it, but.
And you know that's the right thing to do, but you know a lot of people don't do it. Like I said, because it's scary. They're scared because they don't know the outcome.
Yeah.
Or they're scared of the outcome. The outcome could be ugly or it could be good.
Yeah.
And you know what? Other story. I mean, there's so many stories. Like I'm reminded at one time where even when I was living that out in the street gangster life and stuff.
Yeah.
I remember one time this dude I used to hang out with. He was good people, a good friend of mine. He's still a good friend of mine now on Facebook, you know. But back then we was out about money and stuff. And I remember one time his girlfriend, you know, she had a black eye. Seen her, she had a black eye. What happened to you? And oh, what's his name hit me? Oh, why? What did he hit you for? You know, yeah, you know, what should I do? You know, she asking me what should I do? And you know, in the street life, you live in that hustle and whatnot, living that street life, you know. You try to give good advice, even though it's, you know, it's not cool because then your friend will get mad because you told my girl this or what, man.
Yeah.
So anyways, you know, she did ask me, well, what do I do? You know, he keeps hitting me and this and that. I said, well, that's your relationship. That's between you and him. Well, what should I do? And so I remember telling her, well, if it was me, girl, I'll be gone. You know, I'm not going to take no whooping every time, get beat up all the time. You know, if it was me, I'd leave him.
Yeah.
So then she later on tells him that I told her to leave him. And so I show up at one of his house and stuff to go visit, you know, and say hi to him and see how things are going. And I pull up, and when I was there, he gets mad at me. He's like, hey, man, why you tell my girl to leave me, man? I didn't tell your girl to leave you. She asked me an advice about your situation and you and her going through, you know, and, you know, she said that you put hands on her and whatnot, meaning, you know, people don't understand put hands, not, you know, touching you, and putting hands in this street life, gangster terms and hood life means he hit her. Yeah. So that's what putting hands on me. And so I'm like, well, I told her that to leave you if you putting hands on her. And if it was me, she asked me, what do I do? I said, if it was me, that's what I told her. If it was me, I'd leave. That's what I told her. I said, I didn't tell her to leave you. Well, she told me you told her to leave me. And next thing you know, me and him became in the altercation. We started fighting because of what she said now. And so just one thing, lesson learned on that is that, you know, I'll never do it again because, you know, she turned on me. She was standing right there and said in front of him, yeah, you told me to leave him. You told me that. No, I didn't. I told you if it was me, I would leave. That's what I told you. And so she turned it all around and stuff. And so, you know, at that time, you know, our friendship was, you know, on the brinks and all that because what happened. And so I left it alone and stuff. But, you know, God is good. God brings stuff to perspective and all that. And years later, you know, now all these years later, you know, we're friends on Facebook and we always, you know, check on each other and whatnot. So, you know, bygones is bygones, you know, he's married now, got a happy, beautiful wife and kids and all that and stuff. So, you know, he moved on from that lifestyle as well. You know, he works part-time still and, you know, and lives life to the fullest. But, you know, just saying that, you know, not everybody is a person that take challenges and go straight forward to it and say, I'm willing to take this challenge and I'm willing to, you know, move on this. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody feels like that. A lot of people don't take well to altercations and physical altercations. They don't take well to it. They turn, you know, I'm gonna go this way because I don't want to be nowhere around that, you know. And I mean, that's common. That's common for anybody. I mean, anybody see anybody fighting in the street, and I don't want to be around there. Something might happen. They might pull out a gun, and I might get shot by accident. I might get killed too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, yeah. That I might get shot too. That did enter my mind after the fact last Saturday. Was okay. Well, if I was to have gotten involved, and did jump the Jersey barrier and try and,
right,
run that guy down and take him to the ground, who knows? He may have had a gun and shot me. Or, on the other hand, it may have been at a point close to the freeway.
Yeah.
And he could have pushed me into traffic.
Anything could have happened. Or he could have grabbed you too, and just both of you guys went over.
Yeah.
So it's just it's your gut feeling always tells you what first. Your what they call that, your intuition. Your intuition is what works right away.
Yeah.
When you listen to your intuition, you listen to that inner voice. No, if it says no, just leave it alone. No, it's not. Then you probably best to listen to that inner voice.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that we all have that inner voice in us that tells us no or yes. Don't do it, or go ahead, do it. If you do it, guess what's going to happen? That's part of your inner being, your body talking to you, your voice in your head, your conscience is talking to you. It's more like if you picture, you got your angel on the one shoulder and you got the devil on this shoulder. The devil's going to be more in your ear than anything, and the angel's just going to tell you one time, hey, you already know the consequences of it. I'm just going to sit on your shoulder and let you, figure out what you're going to do. While the devil's over here whispering, don't listen to him. Guess what? Just go do it anyway. So what? So what if you get shot? So what if you fall down the hill and hurt somebody? So what? Just do it.
No.
So and it's always fighting that like we say, everybody has demons. We all have demons, and we all fight our demons. But the thing is that some battles we don't win. Some battles we keep fighting.
Yeah.
And when you keep fighting it, then little by little you're winning, and then little by little you win and win and win, and then boom, that battle's done. But every day is a new battle for all of us. Every day we got new battles in our lives.
Yeah. Oh, something I wanted to go back on. Earlier in the show, toward the beginning, you were talking about, these kids and young people getting in the gangs, and it's like, okay, well they, it's like they feel a part of. They feel like, okay, well, here's something to do. It's sort of fun, but I'm hanging out with these guys, and they're cool. So, it'll make me cool to hang out with them and do this stuff too. Well, and it's just like that. When I, reflecting back to when I was a teen, or early teens, maybe preteen, I guess, started getting into the smoking cigarettes, running away from home, drinking, doing drugs,
right,
hanging out with all that scene. It's like, or at least generating that scene in my life, I guess. I guess more than hanging out with them. But since the majority of the time I was on my own, but it's like they're at the beginning. It's like after my brain injury, I remember I was at home, very close supervision,
right,
from my parents, and then as soon as I was, they released that supervision and I was allowed out into the neighborhood to make friends or whatever. Or hang out with my friends, the couple friends I already had.
Right.
It's like I gravitated away from them and, sort of started hanging out with the wrong crowd, the bad seeds, the kids
right.
your parents don't want you to hang around.
Exactly.
I was hanging around them. And, because they were cool. They were smoking cigarettes. Yeah. My parents and a bunch of family members, they smoked cigarettes, drank, did drugs, whatever, and I thought they were cool. So, these kids are doing that, so they're cool. And you know, not too long went by, I started smoking cigarettes and
Yeah.
you know, drinking beers with them, and then drinking the harder alcohol once that was available. And it's like once the drugs were available and in front of me, I was doing them too. And it's just like, okay, well, these guys are talking about stealing stuff from the store, you know. So I guess that wouldn't be too bad if I went to the store and stole some cigarettes since I'm out.
Right.
And, you know, so it's like that started happening. And then it's like, you know, just, I don't know. It just started going downhill from there.
Yeah.
But, you know, and running away from home, ran away from home countless times. But, you know, it's like it was there to do, and it'd be just sitting at home, which I had been doing. So, hey, this is cool, you know, why not?
Right.
And, you know, then it's like, yeah, it's downward spiral.
Yeah.
Just nothing but going down, down, down. You know, that's how it was for me. Just more trouble all the time.
Right.
And less friends, less people wanting to hang around me and all. And it's like, in the end, it's like, my life, you know, sucked. It was down in the gutter, you know, and I didn't want to be there anymore. So.
But you know what's amazing is that, and so people can kind of have an idealistic view of something. 9 times out of 10, you know, like just take for instance for yourself. You didn't grow up in a poverty home, right? You didn't grow up in a ghetto mentality home.
Right.
You grew up with great parents, good parents somewhat. I mean, they had their issues or whatever, but you was well taken care of. You grew up in a good environment.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's those kids that grow up in a good environment, grow up with a good upbringing, are the ones that get themselves in a lot more trouble.
Yeah.
Because they want to venture out and they think they're missing out on something. So let's just say with our music, our rap and hip hop and whatnot, a lot of that plays roles in it because it gets the kids involved, like the raves. Let's take the raves, rave parties. Rave parties are a bunch of kids go and party this rave party. And there's some kids just want to go out and have fun. That's all. Want to go out and party, enjoy the music, dance, and then boom, go home. But you got that bunch of kids, then you got the bunch of kids over here that are pill poppers, and they're preppy kids that come from a good family. And then over here, you got another bunch of kids that are into hardcore drugs and meth and speed and cocaine. And then you got the hardcore over here, the alcoholics and beers and whatnot, and don't do drugs, but we just get drunk and wasted. And, you know, they're all in one big old thing, one big old party. And it just takes one of each here to influence the ones that came to just party and have a good time. Yeah. To influence one of them and taint them. And once they taint them, they reel them in. Then you're just gonna get high here, and then it's over. When the party's over, you'll be fine. Be fine, but they don't tell them that. You know, they're not gonna sit there and tell them, "Oh, you're gonna have withdrawals. You're gonna want if you want some more of this, just give me a call. Here's my number. Here's call me my cell phone, whatever." And that's what you see with a lot of the kids that I've dealt with, families that I've dealt with out here with the gang prevention intervention programs that I've done. I've dealt with a lot of these kids that were come from a good upbringing, very good upbringing, family very well and off, got a nice home and all that. But once again, it's because they think they're missing out on something. They think that well, how come I can't go hang out at the mall with them? They're always hanging out at the mall, Well, because maybe their parents don't care enough for them. Maybe their parents doing their own stuff, so it's a hard thing to really poke at, so to speak, because there's parents out there that are good parents that raise their kids well. But there's loopholes in certain areas in relationship and family components. There's loopholes there. Yeah. Some parents don't know how to talk to their kids when they're at home. They don't have that relationship. You know what the pandemic did? even though it was a pandemic of hurt, frustration, death, whatnot, but when they locked everybody into their homes, that was probably the best thing that ever happened to a lot of families, because they got some quality time with their kids, got to know their kids. In 1 year's time, they got to know their kids. They got to know what makes them happy, what makes them cry, what moves them, what shakes them, what makes them mad, what hurts them. A lot of parents had eye openers to what their kids watch and do at home. And that was probably the best thing that ever happened to a lot of these families that didn't have that relationship, and now they have a relationship with their family, with their own family at home.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
the pandemic panned out to be something great in the long run, and it helped out a lot of families. I believe it helped out a lot of families. I think it did.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and what you were talking about that, and I was thinking like, I'm sure it did help them out, and it was a very good thing for those parents that weren't locked in this mindset of, God, I can't wait till this is over and they can leave.
Yeah. And there were some parents that were there. There were some parents that I would, let's just, because I grew up in a good upbringing. Okay, I did. I grew up in a good home. My mom raised us well. We lived all right, but we struggled as well. We had struggles that when my mom struggles, we struggle, because we see our mom struggle. We want to help mom out. How are we going to help mom out? That was always what we try to do. I mean, I remember having set up a lemonade booth in front of the house and try to sell lemonade, and my friends would come by, you're retarded, man. You sell lemonade, man. 50 cents a cup. I'll get one just to give you some money, man. And probably make about a good 20, 30 bucks probably throughout the whole day, with the Kool-Aid packs, make the lemonade,
I supported myself for an entire summer out in front of our house in Everett.
See? So,
by doing that.
So, life skills were always there for us growing up back then. But for now, with these kids now in this millennium, these kids now, they don't understand anything about life skills or purpose, And I always recommend parents a book by I think it's Tiny Tom or Tommy something Tom.
Tiny Tim?
Tiny Tim, a purpose-driven life.
Oh, A Purpose-Driven Life. I forget the author's name, but I know the book.
I think it's Tiny Tim or something like that. But Purpose-Driven Life is a very good book for parents as well as young people to read. It gives insight both in the perspective of godliness.
The Purpose-Driven Life.
The Purpose-Driven Life
by Rick Warren.
Rick Warren, and very good book for parents to read. Parents haven't read that. If any of you parents have not read that or consumed that book, go out and get it. It's a very good book. He's got another one he wrote after that one, but really educational, really humbling, really understanding spiritually, in all aspects. It's nothing to push Christianity towards you, nothing like that. But it shares the spirituality of mankind, people, and it opens up doors in your mind. It opens up thinking ability to think and really grasp a hold of like I said, you grasp a hold of your struggle, grasp a hold of the pain, grasp a hold of hurt, and then how to adjust and release and let it go, and then start all over from scratch. Because a lot of people today, this is in our age for us.
Yeah.
A lot of people like me at my age, we hold a lot of pain from back 20 years ago. Some people hold pain from 20, 25 years ago. Don't let go of it. They don't know how to let go of it. And if they were just to get this book, I promise you, if you guys get the Purpose-Driven Life book, it's a very good book. The author is a great guy, and it'll educate parents. It'll educate our youth as well to really tap into something good to a mental healthiness as well as a physical healthiness.
Yeah.
So I recommend that book to anybody. I do. It's a really good book.
Right on. I haven't read that one, but I've heard about it and I've seen snippets of it. So
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to check
Yeah,
out
grab it
that.
up, grab it up, and check it out. I had the book. I think my ex-wife took it with her, so I probably have to get another one.
Right on. Yeah. But yeah, you're talking about the spirituality and spiritual side of things and spiritual side of life, and how it's, not like pushing Christianity and all that. And it's like this morning shooting that video, I got like I only put a minute video on my Instagram, of course, which copied over to my Facebook.
Right.
But I have on my phone a total of like 10 minutes. I know I have at least like 8.5 minutes of just the sunrise.
Right.
From the time when you can just barely see the brightness of the sun coming over Browns Point.
Oh yeah.
To where, the sun is actually sitting on top of Browns Point, shining down on the water.
Oh yeah.
And across the water. But and I think I posted the last minute of that, which has a train up on the hill in the background there off Ruston Way.
Yeah.
But it's like watching that sunset, or did I say sunset? I'm sorry, I got that in my head. Sunrise. Watching the sunrise this morning, watching that awakening of the day.
Right.
And it's just like, I see the spirituality in that, just the rising of the sun, the awakening of the world, the awakening of, the people.
Yeah.
In the area, not just the land or the physical land, the spirituality, of the whole thing awakening.
Right.
And it's like, and that's one thing I was thinking, was going through my mind as I'm watching the sunrise and shoot down its, the light onto the water. And in the video, you can see the light on the water and the ripples in the water. And I was thinking, the phrase "God is great" came to mind.
Oh yeah.
And it's a lot of people. And I was reflecting on how if I put something like that in my post, some people will be like, "Man, now he's going all biblical on us." It's like, no. It's not about that. It's not about
It's not
this religion or that religion or whatever. And it's like everything is possible. All things are possible.
Right.
And it's like whatever you believe, that's right for you. You know. And it's like whatever I believe is right for me. And I don't know. That was just what was going through my mind as I was watching the sunrise this morning.
But it's beautiful to recognize that and realize that a sunrise it's a new day.
Yeah.
Forget about what happened yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
It's over with. You can't do nothing about that. It's gone. Today is a different day. Approach the day, approach it good, and do the best you can. You're not perfect, but be perfect in your own way. And along the way, you might do something wrong or might do something that's going to hinder you. And accept criticism. Let somebody correct you. And when they correct you, that's for your good, not to make you mad. It's for your good. They're correcting you for a purpose because they want to see good out of you. So they didn't correct you to piss you off. They correct you just to let you know, hey, man, that wasn't the right thing to say. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I should have said something different. That's all it is,
Yeah.
So, like I said, everything is for a reason. And I always try to, utilize, anything like quotes and all that to make life simple. And, I always post up quotes on my Facebook and stuff. And, I had one to say, take time out to laugh a lot more. Because laughter is cheap medicine, and you can't get nothing more better than that. Laughter will take away your upsetness and your frustration. Laugh at it. Laugh at the frustration. Laugh at the situation. I always, I think about how far I came from where I've been. Losing about total of 15 years of my life in the institutions that I can't get back. I can't get back those 15 years, but I can share those 15 years with somebody, and hopefully that those 15 years I share with them will allow them to think, so they won't put themselves in a situation and lose 15 years of their life. They can think before they do something and say, hey, I'm glad that, I'm glad that Brother Rico talked to me about that or shared that, because I got a better perspective of what he's talking about, getting caught up, with a gang member, or getting caught up with social drugs, whatever. A parent usually asks me, Rico, is gangs and drugs related? Do they coincide together? And I always let them know, yes. So,
Yeah. Right now, let's see. Let me see. Okay, yeah, this is an excellent topic, excellent show, and we're going to carry this over into Positive Vibes, my hour. Let's see, and we're going to have to take a little break here in just a second. But I want to thank you all for joining us for the first hour. Too Strong to Go Wrong.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Now we're going to take a little break and go for the second hour after some promos here and station identification and all that. And see you in a minute.
Little fellows, do you like adventures or maybe fantasy?